Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas. And it is a Merry Christmas for all of us here. X's and Knowles, presented by Knowles 24/7. To all of you, hopefully you're enjoying the holiday season. And I hope you're unwrapping your presents, drinking your cocoa, having a nice time. But it's not just family members that have gotten your present, because old dirty Mike Norvell and the boys have left some nice gift wrap transfer portal guys under your tree this year. And we're talking about two of the most coveted ones. First, we're going to be talking about 6'6", 220-pound wide receiver Duce Robinson, Florida State legacy, a guy that was highly recruited out of high school. Didn't really give you the time of day then. Get him back on campus, get him back into the fold, try to elongate that Florida State legacy of his father, Dominic Robinson. An absolutely massive get, especially for a team in Florida State that did get less than zero, negative production from the wide receiver room. This guy's a sight for sore eyes. Big catch radius, a guy that we expect to hook up with Thomas Castellanos and have a really, really productive season. That's not all on the offensive side of the ball, because Florida State was the worst in the country last year. We need some more help. And where do we need it? The tight end position. Another blast from the past. UCF tight end Randy Pittman, guy who can do it all, a guy that was committed to you out of high school, coming back into the fold, back to Florida State, back to Tallahassee, back with Gus Malzahn. Two really, really interesting prospects. And in the case of Duce Robinson, guys, like a top 5 overall transfer prospect in the portal. I know the last time that we did these player analysis videos, we're kind of bemoaning the lack of activity, maybe some of like the missed opportunities that Florida State had at the beginning of the portal cycle. Looks like they've rebounded nicely, and it has to be all due to our encouragement and counsel, right, boys?
Mm-hmm. It's all on us. I take full credit.
Absolutely. Nobody else. It was us. We did it. You're welcome. Before we start to get into, they're going to do a nice little mix of some game film, some highlights. Listen, we don't rest here during the holiday season because we work for you, the customer, the consumer. So we're going to give you a look at both of these takes from all angles. Just general thoughts, man. Like that Duce Robinson pickup, the boys on OTB for Knowles 24/7, they classified it as like a cycle-defining recruitment. Mike got the job done. What do we think? I'm pretty excited about this kid. 6'6", brother. Huge.
Yeah, the winds of change are blowing, right? I mean, there was a lot of hand-wringing and frustration last week, and I mean, I think it was somewhat rightful, but things have quickly heated up for Mike Norvell and staff, and we'll see if he can get this thing the course corrected very quickly, as he's tried to lay out in his words at the end of the season press conference. So far, his actions are matching his words, and we'll kind of continue to see where that takes us. But as far as Duce Robinson goes, I mean, this is a big, long playmaker. Mike's obviously been aggressive trying to get those this offseason and trying to recapture that Johnny Wilson magic, and we'll see what that looks like in a Gus Malzahn offense.
Kev, what do you think of this guy? You're an offensive guy. Like everybody's talking about the run game, talking about the QB run game. We're focused on the offensive line, but at heart, I know that you're an air raid specialist. What do you think about having a nice, big, long, rangy athlete on the outside?
Yeah, so I've kind of got this pet theory, and I don't have the numbers to prove it necessarily. So take this with a grain of salt. But I think a bad offensive line loses you games, but I think elite wide receivers win you games. I think they win you big games. So what someone like a Duce Robinson does, what someone like Keon Coleman did for you, what even Johnny Wilson did the year before Keon Coleman, is they make the defense respect him with an extra person. So if you're going to let him, if he's a deep threat over the top, teams are going to cap him with a safety because you don't want to give up one play touchdowns. That's one less person in the run game.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have Thomas Castellanos running the football. They've got to respect him with a defender. That's one less person in the run game. I think those two kind of threats simultaneously is what we saw a couple of years ago with Jordan Travis and Keon Coleman. I think they're trying to recapture that, and hopefully Duce Robinson can be that threat. I think he needs to hit a few times early on in the season. There needs to be a few plays where, like you saw with Keon in the LSU game, where he just took the top off the defense and made the country aware that he was a threat. If Duce Robinson could do that early on in the season for you, it's going to open up the run game and it's going to open up the other receivers in the pass game. I think an elite receiver is essential if you want a good offense.
Totally agree. Establish the threat early and the effect lasts all season long. This kid definitely has the tools to do it. Let's watch some film. I'm ready to get into it. Kev's got me all jacked up.
Yeah, so I want to give credit to College Wideouts TV. So we're taking this from another YouTube channel. So thank you for your services here. But this is his highlights from 2 years ago. So he's this number 19 here in these clips. I guess he was at the top of the screen. That's my bad. But you can kind of see what the tools you're working with.
And what do we think, Adam, a guy that like Castellanos' accuracy issues, I think we said were really overblown, but what is a guy with this sort of catch radius? Does he help mitigate that? I mean, like how much of a help is it, or is that also overblown? His effect on maybe having a more consistent passing game with a thrower of the ball who isn't like the most accurate dude in the world?
His contested catch rate would suggest that it doesn't make much of a difference. But I mean, I think anytime you're throwing to a target that's got that type of wingspan and the ability to go up and get the football, that's going to help. I mean, you see there, it's going to help. It's going to help you as a quarterback. You can just get it in his vicinity, and then when you're this big and this long, that vicinity becomes that much bigger. So we saw it with Johnny Wilson quite a bit. You could throw that ball a little bit higher, and he's able to go up and get it because he had longer arms and was able to jump up and make that play because he was 6'6", 6'7" also. And I think there's some similarities here with that ability.
And Kev, what do you think of the movement? This was a kid that out of high school that was looked like, is he going to be a big tight end? Is he going to be a wide receiver? At USC, he's playing on the outside, making huge plays. I mean, he looks pretty natural as a big wide receiver. What do you think of the movement skills?
Yeah, I think we had this debate with Johnny a couple of years ago. Where does he slot in? I think he's a little bit less kind of big boned than Johnny. I think he moves well at this size. I don't think he's someone that you would ever realistically want bulking up. I mean, this is dangerous, right? This kind of long strider that you can get out in space and kind of get downfield. Yeah, I think the Johnny Wilson comparisons are natural. But like AB was saying, his stats are almost the opposite. He has a tendency to drop the hard ones and catch the easy ones, unlike Johnny. But yeah, I think you're still looking at a guy that's a dangerous blocker on the outside that can box people out with that big frame. And
he gets open, man. There's a lot of space around him. What do you guys attribute that to? Just really good passing concepts from Lincoln Riley, or is there something about his game where he can just get these kind of just wide open
coverage there
spaces?
Yeah, that was a busted coverage.
There's been a couple of those. He's got some nuance to his route running. I mean, he does a nice job of getting himself open at times. Like, I don't think he's going to separate a lot, but he seems to be able to play physically and handle guys being on his hip.
Yeah, let's see this route. So it's a little speed out. I think more than anything, what you're looking at is, well, this is 3rd and 17, so that would kind of explain why you got so much cushion. But I don't. He's not going to be that twitchy kind of guy that's running elite routes. He's the kind of guy who's
a range catch.
Yeah, he's the kind of guy whose long speed and height are going to buy him more cushion. Right? I think that's a nice route.
Oh man, yeah, very nice.
So you watch him down here. He kind of slant and go.
He understands kind of routes and how to get open. Obviously, his father was a great wide receiver at Florida State. I think coaches also, but he seems to understand how to get open, how to set guys up, and use his body to be able to run routes, which is important.
And this is not the full game against Nebraska, but this is from 2024. This year, he had a nice big game against them. Let's see the kind of changes. Let's see if his game's any different. Do you guys think that he's going to be used in the same way that Florida State used Johnny Wilson? Or are we going to see maybe a little bit different usage with Gus Malzahn being the OC, and then obviously the differences that he has compared to Johnny?
I think it's safe to expect some level of RPO usage like they did with Johnny. some go ball usage like they did with Johnny. Kev's studied Gus's playbook more closely so far than I have as far as the passing attack goes. So I'm curious to hear what his thoughts are.
And what's his number, right? What's his number?
He's
in
number 2.
2024? He's
this
number
past
2.
season.
Okay. Oh, Duce.
This is a
Nice.
big play for him.
Oh God, look at that.
Yeah, there's your range. I mean, he's not getting a lot of good passes thrown to him, I'll point out.
Yeah, I mean, Johnny, how they used Johnny that first season makes a lot of sense to me. You put him isolated one-on-one, put him in that flex, make him a threat. So if you put a corner over him, that you can kind of run to that short side of the field.
Good block, man. That's Johnny Wilson-esque.
Right. So what I'm describing, I mean, this is a great way to use them. But yeah, you put someone like this in this position. Well, if they cap him with a cornerback, you can run that way and they're in trouble. If you cap him with a safety or a linebacker, well, now he's got a one-on-one with a safety and linebacker with all sorts of space. So they kind of played those games a lot with Johnny Wilson. I expect you play him with Duce Robinson, and honestly, the blocking in the passing game is huge. As far as it pertains to Malzahn's offense, it'll be really interesting to see how that goes. Because at UCF, he just compiled like a ton of those little scat receivers.
Yeah. What's intriguing to me is if they do bring some of that Bryles true spread stuff over. Like now you've got a really big body athlete out there who can block like a tight end like Johnny Wilson was able to. And you've really got to kind of account for him differently because of that. And what you can do with a screen game with the, removing numbers from being spread out so wide. So they got to really think about how they're going to account for it.
What do you guys think? Just looking at his game, areas of improvement. He is still like a fairly. I think is he a sophomore this year or a sophomore last year? Like he's a guy with a couple years left. Where do you guys see where he could improve upon his game?
Oh, hello, tackle him on the bench.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just hard. He hasn't shown a lot. So
not a ton of production. That is true. I think last year he had about 5 touchdowns and about 400 yards on 23 catches. So 17.2 per, but that's not like eye-popping production.
I mean, it's good production. It's something you want to build on. But I think that's the big thing is how does he handle being kind of the feature receiver? How does he handle being the guy? He's going to get tight coverage. He's going to get double coverage. Can he make those 1 or 2 plays a game that kind of open up the offense for you?
I mean, we're seeing drives here. He's not even,
he's up top, but he's not really doing anything. Yeah. Right. He wasn't a feature receiver at USC. Yeah, he wasn't.
But they've also got a bunch of guys there at USC that, that's kind of the Lincoln Riley way. I think he just needs to continue to develop as an athlete. Good off season in the strength and conditioning program. Continue developing as a route runner. Those types of things. I just think as an all around athlete and football player, he's just got to continue to develop and be another year older. Understand
right.
All the cliche things, getting to know the playbook, and
yeah.
But this is a talented athlete. He just needs to keep working at his craft.
Yeah, and it's interesting because no like obvious hole in his game like Johnny Wilson had where the drop issues, like you said, his contest and catch rate isn't great, but he's not missing bunnies over the middle and having other, like I remember when Johnny came in, opposing coaches are like, this guy's not going to be a functional like wide receiver for Florida State. He ended up proving them wrong, but I don't see any glaring thing like that. It's just if he has natural development as a receiver and he's going to get his opportunities at Florida State, it looks like a real natural fit, man.
Yeah, and I think this is where you're going to see him. I think you're going to see RPOs kind of over the middle, that big frame, kind of giving, Thomas Castellanos, the shorter guy, a little bit more
watch
range.
That again. Let's watch that again, dude. That was pretty smooth.
Yeah, very, very smooth. You can see the athleticism.
For 6'6", man, runs well. Just right past those guys. This is Tony White's defense, by the way, Florida State's defensive coordinator.
Well, Tony, what are we doing?
Yeah, he's getting frozen.
Yeah, that play action draws all them up. But
Well, can you imagine that with Thomas Castellanos at quarterback too, man? You're going to be, like you said, Kev, establishing the threat, putting hesitation in the defense. Like,
right. I mean, you hit this once, and now teams are gonna be more hesitant. That's gonna give more time for running backs to get upfield. That's gonna give you opportunities to hold on to these double teams up front. I think of the modern game having that threat, having that guy that forces these safeties to stay back like this is just huge for the run game.
yeah, because Florida State, obviously, all the transfers that they're bringing in, we'll get to the trench guys in the next video. We're waiting, all the additions shaking out at them, like, we had to hold them back. Like, we are going to talk about the big guys, but I mean, that's a lot of overhaul in like 1 year, going from the worst offensive line in the country to something serviceable. Thomas Castellanos, Duce Robinson, this guy Randy Pittman, we're going to talk about here in a second. Anything that you can do with like heavy RPO stuff to install like hesitation in the defense, it's something that we talk about so much. It's going to make everything around you look better, going to make less guys in the box, make your offensive line look better, open up running lanes. Like, this is what a great get, man. What a great get, because I can easily see him in this Malzahn Norvell offense.
So this is exactly what I was talking about. You want to put a cornerback one-on-one with Duce Robinson on the edge, on kind of the short side of the field. Well, now you're going to leave yourself vulnerable to the run game. I mean, it doesn't even matter how bad these offensive linemen are here, because you've got this block up top.
And that's 4th and 1 too, man. Obvious running down, and he is just mauling him. That's Johnny Wilson. That's a Johnny Wilson play, right?
Mm-hmm. Great effort, great block.
I mean, that wins football games. I think it won them this football game.
I love that. I love that because there was no physicality from that position really, outside of like maybe like Ja'Kai Douglas. Like, that's nice to see. That's going to raise the physicality. That's going to raise the competition, and it's just a really nice, flexible piece that guys like Norvell and Malzahn, who are primarily matchup based dudes, they can do a lot with. So I'm extremely excited for that take, and I think he fits in perfectly, and I'm just glad they got the job done. What do you guys think?
No, I agree. I mean, I
necessary.
Think, it was not. They had to
crucial.
Rebuild that. Yeah, they needed to rebuild that room.
Speaking of rooms that need to be rebuilt, Florida State, an exodus of tight ends, and the position sucked last year. They couldn't do anything with it. And as we've bemoaned on this podcast, it hasn't been a very talented room, and yet we like to run multiple out on the field at the same time. Guys, what do you think about running multiple tight ends when you've got more Randy Pittmans as compared to the guys that we've had before? What do you guys think of this prospect? The dude, people might be getting a little wary at all of like the UCF guys that are coming over, but Randy Pittman seems like a very valuable piece, regardless of him being like a guy that played at UCF, right? These are a lot of layups, people saying, coming from Malzahn, but this is a highly coveted guy. Are you guys excited about this prospect?
I think I'm excited just from the standpoint. I mean, they needed more bodies in that room. Like, you lost 4 of them total.
Mm-hmm.
So you needed guys in there, and he knows the system. He's got proven production. Like, I think that was kind of important to have, especially as it's. I'm sure it's an absolute battle to hold on to Landon Thomas. I'm sure he's probably been pretty coveted in the transfer portal. People trying to come after him to, get him to enter. He's not entered, but trying to get him to enter. So I think it was important that you went and got somebody that was a good backup option, that knew your system, has shown that he could be successful in the college game and at the college level. I mean, Pittman's a good productive player. I don't think there's a lot of negative stuff to say. I'm not going to sit here and say that like he's my favorite take, but he's a guy that you're going to be able to count on week in and week out to go make plays in the ACC.
A much different take than what we saw last year, where you were betting on a lot of potential and not production. It's like Randy Pittman's a guy that you know what you're getting, and it's a good floor establisher guy, especially because he's got that experience in Malzahn's offense. Kev, what do you think about this take before we get into the film?
This might make people upset, but I think Randy Pittman is the best the day he steps on campus, he is the best tight end Florida State will have had in Mike Norvell's time here. Now, I'm not saying that Landon Thomas or Amari Williams will not be better than him. I think their ceilings are certainly higher than his. But I mean, I would take Randy Pittman over Cam McDonald and Kyle Morlock and Marcus and Douglas. You just haven't had a guy at that
Wyatt
point.
Rector. Preston Daniel.
Slander.
I like him gritty.
I'm not saying Randy Pittman is an All-American. That's certainly not where I'm at. But he's a guy that has a skill set. He's a guy that gives you something. His PFF grade, to give reference, is like a 64 last year. Whereas Kyle Morlock, your feature tight end last year, was at a 56, which was the highest of his career. You're moving up in this position, and he's someone that has a real skill set. There's something there you can build with. He's a receiving guy. He's not much of a blocker, but he's usable as a blocker, right?
Not a liability is what you're saying as a blocker.
Right. It's not a strength. Don't get me wrong, but I like the take. I think it's a good take. I think that good tight ends are hard to come by, and I think he's a tight end for a spread system.
Okay, let's take a look at the film and see what you're talking about. A good, productive veteran presence, and he can play out wide, which will be interesting.
Yeah, you can see he's just kind of a thick wide receiver.
Yeah, he's 6'2", 225 is what it says up here on the old stat sheet. Adam, you were talking about the Bryles splits with Duce Robinson. I mean, obviously he's playing in that UCF. So when you talk about that, how can a player like Randy Pittman thrive with using those wider splits?
Well, I mean, he mostly seems to live inside the box, based on what they did at UCF. So splitting guys wider, and if he's in the box, I mean, I think it will create a little bit of space if, depending on how they use them, whether it be on arrow routes or short crossers or delayed releases, those types of things. All right, so there he is out wide.
He plays wide space, dude.
Yeah, I think this is often used as a tell, right? Yeah. Are they in man coverage? No, because I see a true corner over my tight end, right? So, and he's agile enough to be a wide receiver out there. So that's kind of how you might use someone like him. He obviously misses his block here, which is a big deal.
Like you said, not a strength.
A lot of, I'm actually making a video about this. But here he is in the backfield.
He goes to block, and it's a keep.
But there's a lot more just true widespread elements to this offense than people want to think. It's not the wing tee out of the shotgun like people used to talk about it.
And it'll be nice, man. We've always, I don't know how to say criticize Mike, but we've always talked about making life harder for themselves running into stacked boxes, and we always wanted them to that's a nice block there. Yeah, dude, get up in them, brother. We've always talked about them wanting to use space more. If we're going to adopt that concept, I love that. I love to hear that, Kev. I can't wait to watch that video.
Yeah, I think he's a tight end made for space. And I think that he fits the system in that way. And I think that the PFF grades were kind of low on him because they expect a tight end to be a very good blocker. And I think he's serviceable in that area. I mean, this is a good block here, but
that would have been the best block from an FSU tight end all year, pretty easily.
I think he shines as a receiver, and I think we'll see that as the game progresses.
Yeah, he had this is the Arizona game, pretty productive, 5 for 80, 2 touchdowns. There he is. Man, they use him all over the place. Like you said, Adam, attached to the line, outside, in the backfield.
Yeah, he does his job here. Just kind of chipping that end.
Mm-hmm.
And not the biggest dude, but not afraid to get his nose in there and get physical. Like to see that.
I think the criticism of him and maybe why he wasn't such a hot commodity is because there is a physical ceiling to him, but I think he I mean, there he is.
I mean, he's not 6'6", 240 pounds and can run a 4.4. I mean, he's just kind of your run of the mill. He's better than Cam McDonald, but he's kind of like Cam McDonald, like very unheralded, but athletic, can get out there and run around and get themselves open. A willing, tough blocker, like just
stuff you need, and you didn't have.
One of those dudes you need in your program that you can just rely on week in and week out.
So I don't think he's in on this snap, but
Panhandle boy from Panama City. Yeah, man. It's a lot of good stuff. It's a lot of good take. Good floor raiser.
I'm excited about him. I think that he's someone you wanted out of this offense. I mean, obviously, if you could take all of UCF's offense, you would take it. They were a pretty solid offensive unit last year, but I think you have a legitimate upgrade at wide receiver now, and a legitimate upgrade at quarterback over what they were fielding.
And that's
you're just missing RJ Harvey.
Yeah. Well, you got Usman Chroma. That's one of the things you needed, guys. You needed better players to come in and worse players leaving. And it seems from how the transfer like import export market's going, it seems like you're getting better than what you're losing.
It does seem that way.
At least offensively, that seems to be.
The old transfer trade deficit seems to be working in Florida State's favor.
I mean, here they are running them on shallow cross, like.
Yeah, but he looks like a wide receiver out there. You wouldn't even notice that he's a tight end. And I think that's where you use him as a matchup.
He's open.
Yeah, he was open.
Is this game later in the season?
Yeah, it is. They're on their 15th quarterback here.
Yeah, this is November 2nd.
So this is when Tim Harris was calling the plays. Florida State's new receivers coach.
Does that off topic of this video? Does that spook you guys at all that Gus had to give up play calling abilities?
No. He's given up play calling abilities every. Okay. That's just a go-to thing for any offensive head coach when they're 3-5.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even it's not a real thing, you know.
Gotcha. Just want to check. I want to ask people smarter than myself.
2 touchdowns. Where the hell are they coming at?
I don't know, bro.
They score a lot of touchdowns this game.
5 for 80, dude. Yeah, 56-12. They pile it on, dude. They neuter the Cats.
Oh. Arizona just scored, so
Gus took the play calling back for this game.
Yeah, that's our story. Every Randy Pittman touchdown was called by Gus Malzahn personally.
Half roll.
Oh, dude, little spinny spin. Hit him.
Holy crap. Throw it up there. Hail Mary.
There's one.
Hey.
There's the
50
40
of his receiving yards.
I was going to say, dude, the long of 48. That's what that is.
All right. We got a Hail Mary specialist.
Look at him going up and getting it, dude. There you go. Ask
Hail
you
Mary
shall receive.
Here, we got it. We actually got the end zone slow motion view of this. They're very hype.
Dude, that is so. That was a touchdown, right? Oh, that is
sick.
Yeah. That's sick, dude. That's one of his touchdowns, a 50-yard Hail Mary.
I love it.
Going up and getting it, playing strong. Yeah, baby. Give me all the angles.
I can give. Let's go even slower.
Oh yeah, 0.5.
Well, I think I see Brendan down on the sideline there geeking out.
He loves him some Pittman.
Oh, look.
He
times the jump in the middle of a pack
right
of
in his
cats.
stomach.
Right in the chest.
Caught it, secured it. Good stuff. Good stuff.
We gotta get to the other touchdown though.
Oh yeah, I hope it's gonna be hard to top that one.
Yeah, they move him around a lot.
Yeah, they do.
There you go in the hole, dude. Nice little.
I don't know about his PFF blocking grades, but he always seems to be blocking pretty decently every time I see him block somebody.
Yeah, no whiffs or anything.
I hate PFF.
Ah, yeah, dude.
Just for blocking.
It's better than anything we've ever had for blocking before, but it's still so hit or miss. It feels random when they're really bad.
Well, the Gunnar Hansen one was kind of interesting because doesn't PFF say he's like a great run blocker and like a bad pass blocker?
No, I don't even know.
And it was funny because we were looking at his film and I was like, I like the kid in pass pro and the run game. He gets to the right spot, but he kind of gets overpowered sometimes. It's just interesting, man, how the film and the PFF stuff don't really match up sometimes.
It feels like they give win or losses.
That's a great
block. He does a good job.
Yeah, dude. I mean, that block makes the run.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah,
Man,
he does get dinged pretty hard on his PFF run grades or run block grades, but
it's in there, dude. Helps. It
Actually,
gives
it's
his
actually
quarterback
doesn't do that.
time. That makes that pass doesn't happen without
Holy
that pass pro.
moly.
I know this
They
random
were
quarterback just
destroying Arizona. What in the hell?
yeah.
Yeah, dude.
This is probably why they're like all their advanced analytics say they love this offense is because they just
Why did they want to run Gus out of town so bad?
because they're
Yeah,
3-5
I don't know what
at
the
UCF.
and that was actually this is their last win of the season.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah, I think this Arizona team was just
I
a mess.
watch absolutely no UCF.
He does a good job there.
Yeah, he doesn't overtake, but it's good enough. It's acceptable.
Dude, I think he scores the last touchdown of this ball game, fellas.
Oh my lord.
I think he
You're
does.
gonna have to watch the whole thing.
Yeah, dude, get to it. I'm fine. I enjoy watching the kid play, man. He does his
A
job.
little
That was
out there.
okay. That
Yeah.
wasn't the best. Of
It's a
course,
little-
dude. The analyst cursed.
Little lungy there.
Did he miss this read? No, I guess not.
All right, still got stuff to work on, but help his teammate up. He's a good teammate. We like that. Uyangale.
Yeah, there's several of them now.
Yeah, they're everywhere, dude. Don't say anything. Dave's watching.
Old Dave. How's it going, Dave?
Oh, hey, big David.
If he's still watching, then we made a fan out of him because
No, he's not watching. I think he's moved on to Oregon stuff. Pittman on
As
the
he should.
line, bottom of the screen. Oh, dude, is he getting? Is this it? Is this it? Looks like he's free. Oh, okay.
Let's go.
Hey, nice catch.
Oh, dude.
Good catch, good balance.
Love seeing that.
Then he blocked somebody.
Can do it all, like you said, Kev. I get the. This is just an element that Florida State, like at tight end, has not had. Let's see.
Oh, this is it.
Oh,
He's
easy
work
peasy, brother.
and then rewarded.
Randy, good. Florida State needs all the help in the red zone that they can get. These are two really good takes. I like the versatility. I like the potential matchup issues. I like, obviously, one played with your offensive coordinator, but I like how they both fit into the offense. Like, if Florida State is going to have an offensive rebound, is going to have a bounce back year, players like this are going to be ones that are going to do it for you, right, guys? Like two really good takes, one great take and one really, really solid take.
Yeah, I think as an optimist, he's someone that Randy Pittman, someone that you want Landon Thomas to learn underneath. He's someone who has a lot of experience in the program. He's someone who is a receiving tight end. He's someone who has learned to make the most out of what he has out of his physical gifts, where Landon Thomas is someone who still needs to grow into those physical gifts. So I think he can be a mentor for the young tight end. And I think that's kind of what you're looking at. I don't know if they're going to try to target a high-end tight end out of the portal. But Pittman at least gives you a floor, and it gives you time for Landon Thomas to come along.
Totally agree. Adam?
I mean, I think Kev's right. I mean, as far as like the soft factors go, I think this is a guy you want in your locker room. I think this is a guy you want in mat drills. I think this is a guy that you want just around your program in general. Kind of looks like a real grind type, very hard worker. You kind of need to get back to some of that in your program. They seem to lose some of that last year, so it's good to get that back. And it seems to be a point of emphasis for them to get those guys that are going to go out there and kind of sell out every play and every day. So that's good. And then, I mean, it's just as far as on the field, like it's nice to have as many guys like who can go out there and block and catch and run and be kind of mismatchy type players. As you look to get into this spread run attack, having guys that you can isolate against against defenders or whatever, find those matchups. I don't want to say offense built for playmakers, but find your find your matchups.
Since we said that,
yeah. Finding your matchups for your guys who can create mismatches is going to be something that Gus Malzahn looks to do. And Randy Pittman's a guy that you can get matched up on a linebacker or matched up on a safety, and he can have some success. But I don't think he's going to go out and be Vernon Davis throwback, but I think he's a guy who can go out there and be Cam McDonald for you from a couple of years ago. Cam McDonald had a few big catches and was a big piece of what Jordan Travis looked to on third down situations. I mean, if you guys remember against LSU 2 years ago or whenever they played them the first time in Baton Rouge, or not in Baton Rouge, in
New Orleans, yeah.
New Orleans. If you remember, they went empty and they isolated Cam McDonald a ton. I think Randy Pittman's a guy you can do some of that stuff with, and it's good to get back to being able to have a guy that that you can trust to go along with a Landon Thomas and an Amari Williams, depending on how much he plays tight end.
Just better to have more options at different levels of the offense as opposed to scheming stuff open, and it's a coin flip if the ball's going to be dropped or not. So that's good. 2 really good takes. We're excited. We know you guys are excited. Enjoy the holidays with your family. We'll have more videos coming, but don't worry about that right now. Just watch this, maybe like cast it onto your TV over your fireplace, suck down some nog, and just watch down. Yeah, some good nog, dude.
Turn on 24 Hours of the Christmas Story. Get you one of those moose eggnog glasses from Christmas Vacation.
Suck down some nog in a Griswold moose glass. Look at a Fragile lamp leg and just enjoy your time with your fam, just like how we enjoy all of our time together and with you. For Adam, for Kevin, for myself, we love you guys. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, ho, 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 and keep chapping. Catch you on the other side.
See you in 2025.